everyone, to our Groundskeeper chat series. I'm your host, Meg Kruger, the content specialist with Pioneer, and I am joined by one of my favorite faces in the industry today. Oh, look at that, heart melting. Maritza Martinez is here to talk a little bit about her summer with the St. Louis City Football Club. And I hope I said that right. I'm sure I butchered it. And we're going to talk a little bit about what they've got going on and what's to come. But Maritza, I'll let you start by introducing yourself.
Hi, everyone. Like Meg said, my name is Maritza Martinez, and I am the Assistant Director of Stadium Grounds for the St. Louis City Soccer Club. So you said football, soccer club, all the same.
What is the proper terminology?
Well, technically, our name title is soccer club. So.
Okay. Well, we won't tell the legit people out there. I can just remember saying soccer in high school and some snotty kid being like, it's actually called football. And you're okay.
It's football.
Whatever, dude.
Yeah.
Whatever works. And you did a nice little description of your title there, but tell us a little bit more about how you ended up here. I know that it was kind of a whirlwind change. So tell us a little bit about how that happened and how long you've been in the position and where you were before that.
Okay, so before here, I was at the University of South Carolina. And I have only been here about 2.5 months now, so everything's new and fresh and still mildly under construction. The story of me getting here is kind of just like a roller coaster because I wasn't looking for the job. I didn't know the job was a thing. And my now current boss reached out to my former boss and said, hey, I want to swing by and meet Maritza. Will she be available? And my boss did not tell me anything. He didn't tell me who wanted to come meet me. He just said, hey, I have a friend that wants to come by and meet you in the morning. So we're kind of walking around. We're looking at the baseball field that I worked at USC. And he pulls me to the side, Josh, my new boss, and he says, all right, so here's my sales pitch.
Wow.
And then here we are. Pretty solid sales pitch.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that feels good going into a new position to know that you were, hand selected, but it also probably adds a ton of pressure.
Yes,
you want to live up to, whatever this reputation was that he heard of. I'm sure it had something to do with your bubbly personality, but definitely a skill set as well. So talk a little bit about that, coming into a new position, not only is it a whole nother arena in the sense that it's now a different sport, but then also there's no team to even support right now. It's a whole nother ball game. Talk a little bit about what that's been like coming into this unique position.
Yeah, so the best way to put it is kind of intimidating. I moved across country. I've only exclusively lived in the South pretty much, other than one of my internships in Baltimore. So I moved across the country, away from my family, away from everyone that I knew, to take a job, soccer, again, a different sport that I don't actually have a lot of hands-on experience doing, with a group of people that I don't know, while everything here was under construction. So it was just a lot of new all at once. It's just been a learning curve pretty much. The other two guys that I'm fortunate to work with, they both come from soccer backgrounds. So they're very knowledgeable in that sense. But every day is a new thing. I'm just fully taking it as much as I can every day.
Well, and imagine just, coming to a new sport and having to get, boots on the ground. You have a game maybe later in the week or even get there before season. You're starting so much before that. You guys are building a stadium from the ground up. What's that been like to whether you're a part of some of those decisions that are being made or you're seeing your boss help some of those decisions? What's that been like to kind of learn about the process from the very beginning?
Well, I keep telling people that I'm very fortunate to have been here so early at this point because I'm getting experience that I might not have had, for who knows how much longer in my career. How many people have been able to see a stadium and field built from the ground up, completely. Most people see them renovated but never originally built. So I'm getting to see the ins and outs of that, the problems and the solutions of everything in between. But you're right. With everything being so new, again, it's just back to the learning curve. Because, I mean, pretty much with a lot of turf grass management, you have a little bit of the foundational things that you know that sport to sport you can just move forward with. But then there's so many things that you don't know. And that's where I'm kind of falling in the in between. Like, I don't know the dimensions quite yet of every soccer line on a field, but we've started painting, so I'm starting to learn them.
Yeah, I saw
Just
I saw
little
some
things like
footage of
that.
you shooting some lasers down on the field, which is always that's your claim to fame. So,
I don't know why, but
and now you guys do have a practice field that you guys are maintaining.
yeah. So we
Okay.
have two natural grass soccer pitches, excuse me, for all the soccer fans out there. Two Northbridge Bermuda fields that are fully built. The grass is growing in, and our teams are practicing. And then we have our stadium completely built, field completely in, again, managing that. And then we just had a synthetic field pitch that was just built, and we're going to start segueing into maintaining that.
And there's 3 of you.
There's 3, and then Josh, our boss. So yeah.
Okay. So once the season, is actually underway and you guys are hosting matches, what does that look like with that kind of crew? Are you guys looking to bring more people on, or is this it?
Well, it's looking like we're going to have an intern or 2 moving forward. But pretty much it's just going to be the 4 of us. And it's kind of funny because the theme of the last week and a half is us kind of learning each other's lingo, because every one of us have a different word for certain things. So we'll be like, hey, can you go get me this, this, and this? And the other person brings back something else. And it's like, no, that's not what I meant at all. So we're just kind of getting past that learning curve of trying to figure out everyone's, I guess, teaching ways, learning ways, working ways, just because we've only officially worked together for a few weeks at this point,
Learning
hand in hand working.
Love languages.
Yes, exactly.
The most important step.
No, but it's been good as far as when we start hosting matches and everything like that. Again, that's one of those learning curves. We're trying to figure out who's stronger at certain things, who's more comfortable at certain things, and we're going to move from there.
Yep.
That might be the worst answer I could give you.
No, and I'm sure that's what everything has been like when people ask you about this new gig. It's like every day, like you said, is new. So it's like, how can you really summarize what the experience has been like,
right,
and what it's going to be like?
Yeah, well, the other 2 guys that I work with, they had been here a little bit longer than I have. So they kind of had their rhythm down to how they were doing things. And then I show up and it's like, okay, well, there's 3 of us and not all the fields are built yet. So let's figure out what we're going to do. And now that we actually have all of our fields built and we're actually starting management practices, we're back to that curveball of figuring out, well, who's going to do what and who's confident about this and so on.
And just falling into the groove of it all.
Yes, exactly.
So what does that timetable look like? When will the first match happen for St. Louis City? Is that the official name?
Yes. Okay. Yes, official name. That was really good. You say it better than I do. I get tongue-tied. So officially we were supposed to have a match on Sunday, this upcoming Sunday, and it was going to be our City 2 team. They were going to finish up their season with their last game here before playoffs start. Okay. But there are some issues, and sadly, it had to get moved to another field. So it's looking like we potentially could host playoffs, but again, that's up to whether or not the team wins or loses. But officially, games are supposed to be hosted next year for the start of the inaugural season. There's that word again, inaugural.
Yeah, the most tongue-tied word.
Oh, yeah.
So I love that you're talking a little bit about just learning, your coworkers, learning the groove of everyone. And that kind of reminds me of our time down in North Carolina with the inaugural field crew
there it is.
For the women in turf team. And how quickly, I think you guys had 16 minutes to prepare the first field. We had rain delays all day. And then it was you had 16 minutes before television cameras turned on.
Tarp on.
You guys just had to learn each other's strengths within that chaos.
Right.
And talk a little bit about the magic that kind of happens there and how that experience was so different than, having the luxury of weeks, months, years to learn each other's, challenges, obstacles, things like that.
Well, with the situation with our first game at the Little League Softball World Series, it was, I hate to say it, it was one of those sink or swim kind of
Yeah.
situations. We had people that had regularly done baseball and softball, people that had done it in the past of their careers, and then people that just hadn't. So it was that one conversation that we all had, and we're all kind of like looking like, okay, who's going to do what? And then there was a list made, okay, who's going to do this? Who's going to help other people, so on and so forth. But really, you don't know until you start.
Yeah.
And I mean, whether you have weeks or months of planning of who's going to do what, or you have 15 minutes before, it takes you getting to that moment until you start doing it for you to realize, okay, maybe I can do this, maybe I can't.
Yeah.
And you just go from there.
And that is like so true across the board for groundskeeping. It's like you can do all the planning in the world, and then yeah, like in North Carolina, you can have rain from the time the first game is supposed to start until the time the fourth game was supposed to start. And it's like you never really understand how many obstacles a groundskeeper is facing. And like it really becomes a sink or swim
until you're in it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And what do you like about that? Like, as far as your job goes, I mean,
you're like, why are you doing that?
Are you okay? Like, let's get a pulse check. Like, but really, what is it about this industry and this job and that chaos that attracts you to this job?
So to me, the thing that attracts me the most is just the level of detail. I'm big into detail orientation. I love that. But what keeps me coming back is the fact it really doesn't matter how skilled you are, how long you've been in it. Like anyone has and can mess up the simplest things.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say this embarrassingly enough. We were raising irrigation heads on our stadium a couple weeks back, and I raised one of mine a little too high, little bit too high, and anyway, I had to end up redoing it. But something as simple as that, like I've changed 1,000 irrigation heads. I've changed a whole field's worth of irrigation heads, and it just took that one time of me, I guess, getting into muscle memory and just like going through the motions, and it's messed up.
Yeah.
And that's what I like to tell like the younger girls that we had on the trip with us. I'm like, every one of us out here have messed up this exact thing. Most of us have probably done it worse than you will do it. Like, find comfort in that. I find comfort in that. Just simple. I mean, everyone can mess up. It doesn't matter your skill set. It doesn't matter how long you've been in it, how long you've been doing it. And somehow, again, check my pulse. Why does that make sense to me and make me feel comforted? I don't know.
Well, it's definitely a humbling gig. There's really not a chance to get a big ego in groundskeeping because something is going to knock you down, whether it's weather or a scheduling, somebody puts an event, a crazy like concert 2 days before you're supposed to host a match. There's plenty of humbling events that could happen throughout your career.
Very much so. You can't control everything. And again, that might be something that comforts me because at some point you can only control so much, and then it's just out of your hands.
For sure. But on the other hand, there's a ton of rewarding experience as well. And that's why a lot of people, I'm sure, keep coming back. And to go back to the Little League World Series, like I know for you, that was a rewarding experience, and you really got to, work alongside some professionals, have some dead weight pregnant lady follow you around. But it was definitely a rewarding experience for all of us.
Just in case no one caught Meg's mic drop moment, if you wanted to repeat that again.
I know, that's how I've been telling everyone. Like I haven't made an official announcement, but I'll just like trickle it in there. And
look at that backdrop behind you. That makes it pretty official.
Hello. But tell us a little bit about that experience, why it was so special to be a part of this group, and what you hope, for the future of events like that, and for just females in the industry.
Yeah. My favorite thing is when I talk to Leah about it, she likes to say, well, why is it this like big spectacle, that there's a woman on the grounds crew? Why can't it be more normalized? And I got used to it when I was at the University of South Carolina because, all of my guys were amazing. Like, all the people in the staff knew who I was, so it wasn't like people were pointing at me like I was at a petting zoo or something. And now I've moved up here, and I'm meeting all the staff here, and they've been nothing but amazing to me. There's so many construction workers here that it's unfathomable how many people I've met. But again, I'm back to that, like, is that a girl on the mower?
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
So going down there, it was nice because everywhere I looked, like, there were females. We were all there. It was normal. We were working. We all knew what to do. We were going on about our day. We weren't the petting zoo people that you're just like looking at thinking, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. What's it like to be a female working
Yeah.
in sports?
The fun question that we all know and love.
Yeah. But that's so cool. And yeah, and what do you really hope for the future as far as like, we had some young students with us on the trip, like, have them carrying the torch, and how do you hope the movement expands and grows?
I hope it explodes in the best way. I hope that obviously I think more and more women are seeing what was going on and they're like, hey, I want to be a part of that. I want to do the next thing.
Yeah.
I hope we have so many women that we just are running out of events to do. Like, let's be honest, because when I went down there and saw how many women that were in the industry, younger to older, it was comforting to know because sometimes you get to a job and you're the only girl there and it's like, okay, I'm in a sea alone. But when you go to those kind of events and you see, okay, there's so many women across the country that are doing this, that it made me feel better. It made me feel more confident in what I was doing. So I hope that the expansion of women wanting to join only shows other women that might want to get into the industry like, hey, I won't be the only girl. This won't mean that I'm the goat that everybody's looking at in the corner trying to figure out why you're there.
Emphasis on the goat, though. The goat all time.
I mean, I didn't throw that in there on purpose. No, just to normalize it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's nice to get the attention to show like, hey, there are women out there that's doing this for other girls and women that might want to do it. But overall, I think we all can say very surely that we just want it to be normal.
Definitely. Yeah, normalize it so that we don't get those silly questions, but then also take advantage of it when it's like, oh, I can go on like a girls trip with some of my favorite friends and like.
Well, you said that was your favorite way to get paid.
Exactly. Like I'm pretty much on vacation with like a new group of friends. Like what could be better than that? So yeah, we'll play both ends of the field there as far as taking advantage of it when it comes. But
you go, Meg.
Yes, that's right. But I think that's, hopefully it just trickles into every element of the industry is on the vendor side, people feeling more comfortable on the student side. And then in your position, you're like one of the only female assistants in soccer, correct?
Yes,
if
I
not
am.
the only or just one of?
As far as my team knows, I am the only.
Okay.
That hasn't changed yet. I'm not really sure. But what I have been told is that I'm the only. So don't quote me for that.
A lot of onlys down at the Little League. Morgan and Leah are like 2 of 3 maybe of like head groundskeepers in minor league. You've worked under Nicole Sherry, who I think is one of 2.
Yes.
Head groundskeepers for the MLB. And it's like, we just hope that it becomes like, there's so many of us that it's like, there's 10 of us. Like it's not a big deal anymore.
Like we can actually reserve a big table at a restaurant one night instead of having to be like, just the 2 of us at the bar.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I wish you all the best. I know that not only are you starting this amazing new gig, but your life has all these wonderful updates coming as well. So if anybody thrives off chaos, I'm hoping it's you because you've got some whirlwind coming towards you.
Well, if you want to know more about the whirlwind, my car got stolen over Labor Day weekend.
I saw that. Insane.
Yeah. But
I was more focused on like the happy events, like your marriage coming up, your big wedding. But we could talk about the carvings.
Yeah. Well, I am getting married. What is today?
September.
In less than a month. Less than a month, I'm getting married.
You've secured the dress.
Yes. Oh, you'd be so proud. Yes, I have finally, because that was the running theme that I didn't have my wedding dress when I was down there for the Softball World Series. But I have it. I still haven't set up catering. But it's It's coming. It's fine.
Use that
It's hard,
insurance check from the stolen car.
right? It's hard to plan a wedding when you're across the country.
Yep. I can imagine.
At this point, I just want to show up and get married. I don't
Yep.
care if there's food. I'll go to McDonald's. That's fine.
Be done with it. Yeah. Well, I'm very excited for all that you have to come down the line. And, you're definitely a turf celebrity, as I like to call it, a turf celebrity. So,
Meg, why would you even say that? And that's going to stick. Someone else is going to say it.
I don't know if it has, because I've been saying it for like a year and nobody's picking up on it.
Okay.
I don't have that much influence.
I don't know. You have a pretty sweet backdrop.
True.
You need t-shirts or stickers.
I agree. Even if it's just for me to wear around town. I agree. But
You're quite the celebrity. I can't say it again.
Turf celebrity.
Turf celebrity.
Yeah. And
that's you, Meg.
One, so we'll all be keeping up to date. You better be updating us via Twitter on everything that's going on, which you do a great job of. I've seen lots of updates about the progress of the practice field, everything like that. So I'm excited to see what is to come, all the exciting updates.
Thank you, Meg. And congratulations again.
Thank you. And congratulations to you.